Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? So Joe from Cosmic Convos, new brand new channel. Me and my wife gonna start dropping some jewels. But today I just wanted to discuss real quick about visualization and my first time microdosing mushrooms, magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, what happened is, if you don't know what visualization is, it's a part of the manifestation process, creation process, however you want to call it. And whenever you're trying to manifest something, maybe it starts with a thought. You put a thought in your head. Let's say I'm trying to manifest a new car, right? Whatever it is, a job, money. It doesn't matter what it is. I would start by thinking about it. I would think about what it is I want, some money. I would see that amount. I would, think about that and, feel myself having it in a positive light. But visualizing it is taking it a step further in that process, and not only just thinking about having a certain amount of money or whatever it is, but seeing how that would feel. What would I use that money towards? Seeing it in my mind, in my head, of me using that money towards whatever it is. So if I wanted to buy a new car with that money, I'd be seeing myself, seeing the money deposited in my account, getting that notification on my phone, and taking that, going to the ATM, pulling it out. How does that money feel in my hand? I'm doing all this in my head. I'm going to the car dealership and speaking with them, meeting with them, signing the paperwork, getting into the car, test driving the car. How does it feel when I start the engine? How does it smell inside the car? What does the car look like? What color is it? I can hear my kids playing and laughing in the back seat. And I did this specifically with a new place. Actually, I just moved to Georgia not too long ago, a few months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. No, it's about 6 months now. And my old place, this is what me and my wife did. And we visualizing, we seen ourselves in the house. How did my feet feel on the hardwood floors, on the gray ones? Exactly what I wanted. How would it feel for the kids to be playing? And we telling them to stop and stop, calm the noise down. All of this is going on in your head, and you seeing it and you bringing this to reality. And the longer you can hold that thought, the stronger it becomes, the faster it manifests into your reality. And so one of the biggest things about it is not having any doubt, fear, and just having that state of gratitude and knowing, that peace, knowing that, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm bringing into life. And so that's what I would do. That's what I do all the time since I became consciously aware that we create everything in our life. We manifest everything that's in our life, currently or in the past, good or bad. We create it all, whether we know it or not. So when I came consciously aware after a spiritual awakening I had about 2 years ago, I started to, manifest and create my reality and visualize all the time. And so not too long ago, maybe about 3 months ago, I started microdosing mushrooms. Microdosing, if you don't know what that is, it's like, instead of taking a full amount to get a full experience, or a set amount to get a full experience, you would take a very small portion. Let's say, I think I did 0.3 or 0.4 grams, something like that. And for the first time, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I was nervous, a little scared, but it's like, forget it. I seen the research to say a huge percent of billionaires microdose mushrooms. I think it was like 90 or 95%. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but and I started to see like a lot of different things that mushrooms do to the brain and how it helps increase your awareness. So I was like, I'm all for self-development. Let me check it out. And the first time, I'm actually on a train out here in a new city. I'm on magic mushrooms. I'm listening to my headphones. Music is crazy. Music is phenomenal on shrooms, like any psychedelic. If you ever had a psychedelic or mushrooms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like you haven't heard music until you heard it on psychedelics. So let me get back to the point. So I'm listening to music in my headphones, and then something just said, you know what, just chill, just close your eyes. And I go into this meditative state, like a meditative state that I only probably been in like once, but it was way deeper than however I got into it. And I'm not big on meditation as far as like actually doing it. Like I be trying it a lot. I know it's good for me, and like I make many attempts, but I'm not the best at it. I only had a few like breakthroughs, like twice. Once when I was listening to a hypnosis, it got me into that state, and then the second time was when I was doing the magic mushrooms. But this time on the microdosing shrooms, it was much more powerful. And the state I was in, I was able to visualize and create in my mind like never before. And I also had no resistance, no fear, no doubt. It was just pure bliss, like in this mode of creation. Like I didn't even know what was possible. And it just put me in a wonderful state. And so, and in that moment, I immediately realized like, yo, there's something going on with this. And I also realized too that this must be what people meditate 5, 10, 20 years, like the advanced meditators. This must be the state that they going into, and that's why they love it so much. Like I could imagine, I could picture the monks just like meditating all day. It all made sense. Like, yo, this is what they trying to do. You get what I'm saying? This is the point. And that blew my mind. Like I couldn't understand it. Like I said, I got there once to like a hypnosis, but even then it wasn't as deep as this state was. And then from there, man, I just kind of kept going with the microdoser, and it had a lot of positive effects, like increased awareness. It's almost like you can kind of just, it's like you got a sixth sense almost. I don't know, it enhances your intuition. And I wanted to take higher doses, but I was scared for a while, because growing up, I always heard about, you know, mushrooms, like for whatever reason, like coming up in an urban or black neighborhood, like from the hood, weed is cool, everybody smoke weed, people do coke. I don't alter with it. Coke is not the cool thing to do, but it's popular as well. You got heroin and stuff like that, and you stay away from stuff like that. With mushrooms, I don't know, it was just like, it was like a stigma around it. It wasn't as prevalent in the hood, but it was something that we always looked at. It's like, yo, that's a white people thing, or that's like they tripping their way out there. And I guess it just got like a negative stigma around it. So I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. I heard, you know, maybe I see a leprechaun coming out of a wall or something like that. And I'm not doubting stuff like that goes down. I haven't been on too many higher doses. But that's kind of how I got on, you know, like the microdosing and so much on a daily basis, because I bought enough to have a few full doses, but I was scared. So I would just take a pinch off each and every day. And I would get this vibe. I would get into the zone. I could focus. I had more energy. I felt better. I felt, you know, more intuitive. Sometimes I kind of felt like I was in a state of bliss, like when I first had my spiritual awakening. I loved that. But then one day, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go all the way out. I'm gonna up it. I took, you know, 2 grams one time for the first time. I started seeing little visuals in the carpet, and I was kind of scared. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, oh man, it's finna get crazy. I closed my eyes. I started seeing like little green lights and stuff like that. But I was still scared. I wasn't submitting to it. I was kind of drowning it out, talking to my wife, having conversations, watching TV, trying to kind of get it, you know, like you kind of push it to the background a little bit. And as it was still taking its effects, but nonetheless, I liked it. And then one day, finally, I stopped being a bitch, and I took a 3.5. You know, I'm gonna say that for another video. I ain't gonna do that. This is about microdosing, so we're gonna keep it on microdosing. But yeah, Microdosing mushrooms definitely have many benefits, health benefits. Man, like for me, I felt like I was able to focus more, like I said, more energy, more intuitive. I would pick up on certain things, and mushrooms actually teach you. It's weird. It's not like a drug like weed or all these other drugs, like cocaine, ecstasy. It's not like a party drug, a fun drug. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you can't do that stuff, but for me, like when I get on mushrooms, I learn something. It actually teaches you something, and I felt that weird. I never knew that. But it's gonna open you up to some things. You get what I'm saying? Especially if you take the right dose. But I would recommend anybody get into it. It's also known that most of the engineers and people who work in Silicon Valley, if you don't know what Silicon Valley is, that's where, you know, all the tech is happening. It's Google, Yahoo, all the big major tech companies. That's where they at. That's where their headquarters are. Amazon, and I think Amazon Seattle. But nonetheless, they all microdose heavy and coming up with creative ideas, concepts. For me, I've seen a tremendous impact, and I would recommend it to anybody who's on the fence about it. Go ahead and do it. I'm not saying, I can't recommend it. I just thought about it. It's illegal. It's an illegal substance, and so if you're gonna do it, take it at your own risk. But like I said, I had a good experience with it, and I definitely find it a part of my daily life often, more than not. So you could take that with a grain of salt, experiment, check it out, but do your research. Don't take my word for it. Do your research. I'm just sharing like my experience with it and what kind of happened to me on it. But yeah, definitely do your research, and if you're skeptical or on the fence, like I said, man, don't let any stories or bullcrap you heard kind of keep you away from it. And it's sad that it is illegal. It is a Schedule I drug, in the same category with heroin, also DMT, stuff like that. And I can see why. Not because it's harmful at all. It's a natural plant. Comes out of the ground. It's very intelligent. It just allows you to get knowledge or tap into knowledge that's not in the book. You won't find this in the book, and if you do, you're most likely gonna probably neglect it. But yeah, check out the video about my full trip. I'll go more in depth, but you definitely learn something from mushrooms. I had different experiences on different strains, not too far off, but slightly different. But like I said, man, overall it was a wonderful experience microdosing mushrooms, and it's something that I continue to do. So yeah, I keep y'all updated. I've been doing it. Probably the most I've done is probably like a week straight, every day. And you're not supposed to do it like that, but it's just me. I'm an extremist. I kind of just go. But you ideally, you probably want to do it a few days. Take a break for a few days. So probably 3 or 4 days, you could take a microdose. After the 4th day, you might chill for 2 to 3 days and then get back on. I see everybody got their different patterns, but definitely, like I said, take what I say as a grain of salt. I've been doing it for about, and it's time span about over 3 months, but not 3 months every single day, here and there. A few days at a time, maybe a week at a time, a little break, and then it's not addictive at all. It's actually something you kind of gotta just muster up and just do, because it don't taste good. It doesn't have a pleasant taste. It tastes like cardboard. That's kind of what we call it, cardboard. That's what it tastes like you chewing cardboard. And it gets stuck in my teeth sometimes, so it's not as it's not enjoyable as far as taking it, and it's not addictive. But one last thing I did want to mention. For whatever reason, taking mushrooms gave me the urge to stopped smoking. Like for a few years now, like I haven't been like a smoker how I used to be. But sometimes I go through these spells where I smoke for a few months, and then I get into the habit of just overdoing it, abusing it, and then pulling off and quitting for, you know, a year and a half, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever. And then I found myself kind of coming back to it. But for whatever reason, I was in one of those seasons where I was just like abusing it, not being productive as I should be, smoking, you know, day to night, kind of nonstop. And mushrooms kind of killed that almost instantly for me. Like, yo, it gave me no desire to want to smoke weed no more, period. Like, I didn't even try. It reminded me of Ormus. Like, if you ever had Ormus, that's kind of how, like, in that aspect of making you want to do what's best for yourself. Not all the effects and everything. It's more extensive than Ormus, I feel. But it does have those certain properties where, you know, it kind of makes you want to do what's right for yourself. At the end of the day, and it did the same effect with alcohol. I didn't drink heavy at all. Probably drink once in a while, but even that was like cut out. No desire for that at all. Yeah, so I found it, like, you know, real good, very helpful for me. But those are I'm not gonna have y'all keep y'all too long. Those are my experiences, just microdosing mushrooms with the visualization. If you don't visualize, get into it. If you're not aware of manifestation, or you think it's some type of woo or crazy mystical thing, or, you know, I know certain belief systems, you know, it kind of throw people off, but man, it's real. It's very real. Like I said, I'm probably gonna post a video footage that I have of my place in my apartment when I was staying in Miami. I actually, you know, that we was visualizing of where we wanted to be and how we wanted the place to look. I actually wrote a lot of the things on like the wall downstairs so it could stick in my subconscious. I could see it every day. And yeah, man, like probably wrote down about, say, 12 to 15 different things that we wanted in a new place, where we wanted to move. And I say about, we got everything except probably about 3 or 4 things off the list. I'm gonna eventually upload that video to the channel, and you guys will see that. And then while I'm in my old house, before I even in Miami, an old apartment, months before I came up here, and I'm gonna show you guys a video where I stay now, and you guys can kind of judge that. And like, this is real deal stuff. So if you're on the fence about that, yeah, definitely look into it, get into it. I'm gonna be posting a lot about manifestation, visualization, and different things on that. So yeah, tune in, visualize, definitely get that. And I'm out, man. Y'all stay positive, stay connected, stay in tune, eat right, do your body some favors, walk in nature. Yo.